Let's move on from the decluttering your home to building your defenses, your emergency kit. We all know we should have one, but for many of you, it often ends up on the back burner, just another item on the ever-growing to-do list. Welcome back to another episode of Declutter for Change podcast. I'm your host, Heather Clark, your declutter expert. Today's episode is for you, the powerhouse entrepreneur who might secretly feel a little overwhelmed by the idea of disaster preparedness. Because let's face it, fires, floods, tornadoes, etc., they don't discriminate. Decluttering for disaster preparedness is absolutely a form of self-care. We're going to conquer the clutter and create a safe, organized haven you can truly relax in, even when the weather forecast looks iffy. We all know we should be prepared for emergencies. Many of you super successful in your business, but maybe not so much in your personal life organization. The idea of disaster preparedness can feel like just another thing on the already overflowing to-do list. It can feel overwhelming, like the one more task you just can't seem to tackle. But here's the thing, disasters don't care how organized you are. A tornado ripping through their town isn't going to care about the overflowing laundry basket in your guest room. A flood overflowing the riverbank isn't going to wait for you to finish color coding your spice rack. Disasters can strike at any time, and when they do, the last thing you want to be dealing with is the chaos in your own home. Now, I'm not suggesting you need to turn your entire house into a prepper's paradise, but there are some simple steps you can take to declutter your home in a way that makes it safer and easier to navigate in an emergency. Think of it as an investment in your own peace of mind. By decluttering for disaster preparedness, you're taking control of a situation that can feel inherently uncontrollable. You're creating a safe space for yourself, your loved one, and even your 2- and 4-legged friends. So, where do you start? Let's talk about minimizing possessions in high-risk areas. The specific risks you face will depend on where you live. Maybe you're in a tornado alley where flying debris from unsecured objects is a major concern. Perhaps you live in the coast, where hurricanes and flooding are a constant threat. Or maybe you're in a fire-prone region, where cluttered spaces can become deadly infernos. The key is to identify the high-risk areas in your home, then ruthlessly declutter them. A great place to start is your garage. Is it a collection of boxes overflowing with forgotten exercise equipment and that dusty childhood swing set? That's a fire hazard waiting to happen. Only can all that stuff hinder your ability to evacuate quickly in an emergency, but it can also fuel a fire and make it harder for the firefighters to do their job. This week's mission, declutter your garage, or your basement, shed, or wherever your stuff graveyard might be. Sort through those boxes, be honest with yourself about what you truly need and use, and recycle what you don't. Consider donating gently used items to charity. It's a great way to declutter while giving back to the community. Remember, a clear path to your car and the ability to exit your home quickly is crucial in an emergency. But don't stop at the garage. The kitchen is another common clutter culprit, and it can be especially dangerous in an earthquake. Think about all those heavy canisters on the top shelf. A good earthquake could send them crashing down, shattering glass, and creating a dangerous obstacle course during an evacuation. Declutter your kitchen, cabinets, and pantry. Consolidate like items, get rid of expired spices and condiments, and invest in some sturdy shelving or organizers to keep everything secure. Here's a neurodiversity twist. Labels are your friend. Clear labels on shelves and containers can make it much easier to find what you need in a hurry, especially during a stressful situation. Now, the living room. Many of us, it's a relaxation zone, the place to unwind after a long day. But let's be real. Sometimes it can become a cluttered catch-all for toys, magazines, and that never-ending pile of throw blankets. All that clutter can not only be visually overwhelming, but it can also block walkways and become a tripping hazard in an emergency. Tackle the living room clutter. Put away toys after playtime, sort through magazines and recycle old ones, and find designated storage for those cozy throws. A little decluttering can make a big difference in the overall safety and feel of your space. Let's move on from the decluttering your home to building your defenses, your emergency kit. We all know we should have one, but for many of you, it often ends up on the back burner, just another item on the ever-growing to-do list. Here's the thing. Think of your emergency kit as your foundation for emergencies. The beauty of an emergency kit is that you don't need to build a giant doomsday bunker worth of supplies all at once. Start small. This week, focus on gathering the essentials: a gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days, non-perishable food that is easy to prepare and eat without the heat, a first aid kit with a variety of bandages and medications, a battery-powered radio to stay informed in case of power outages, and a flashlight with extra batteries. We all know how easy it is to get overwhelmed and then paralyzed by indecision. So create a system that works for you. Maybe it's a designated bin you add a little extra each grocery trip. Perhaps a checklist on your phone helps you stay on track. There's no right or wrong way to do this as long as you're gradually building your kit over time. The basic emergency kit is a great starting point, but it's important to tailor it to your specific needs and circumstances. Do you have any medical conditions that require specific medications or equipment? Do you have infants or young children who need diapers, formula, or special food? Consider these factors and add the necessary supplies to your kit. Your animals are important too. Include pet food, water, and bowls in your kit. Have a designated pet carrier on hand is also a lifesaver in an emergency. Check with your vet or local animal shelter for specific pet emergency checklists. In today's digital world, staying connected is crucial during an emergency. Consider including a portable phone charger in your kit, and don't forget to keep a paper copy of important documents like passports, insurance information, and medication lists. These can be lifesavers if your electronics are damaged or lost. Speaking of documents, it's important to have a plan in place for when you do have an emergency. Sit down with your family and discuss evacuation routes, meeting places, and communication strategies. Talk to your kids about what they do and do not do when they're home alone during a disaster. Practice your evacuation plan regularly so everyone knows what to expect. Having a plan and an emergency kit in place will give you the peace of mind and a sense of control during a stressful situation. Remember, even a small disaster can disrupt your life: a power outage, a burst pipe, a sudden snowstorm. Being prepared for these everyday emergencies can make the world of a difference. Let's be honest, disasters are scary. The idea of a hurricane tearing through your town or a fire ripping through your neighborhood can send shivers down anyone's spine. But here's the thing. Feeling prepared can be a huge stress reliever. By decluttering your high-risk zones and building a basic emergency kit, you're taking control and creating a safe space for yourself and your loved ones. Decluttering for disaster preparedness isn't about achieving some Pinterest-perfect level of organization. It's about taking small, manageable steps towards safety and peace of mind. You are someone who conquers challenges in your business every day. You can conquer the clutter in your home and be prepared for whatever life throws your way. We've talked a lot about the physical aspects of disaster preparedness, but what about your electronics? Let's face it, in today's world, our phones, laptops are lifeline. Here are a few tips to keep your tech safe and functional during emergencies. Invest in a portable phone charger. A dead phone is useless in an emergency, so having a way to keep it juiced up is crucial. Consider a waterproof phone case. Floods and flash floods are a reality for many of us, and a waterproof case can save your phone from water damage. Back up your data regularly. This one's a no-brainer. Whether it's to an external hard drive or a cloud storage service, make sure you have recent backups of all your important files. A fire or natural disaster could destroy your computer, but your precious memories and documents can be safe in the cloud. Let's not forget the financial side of disaster preparedness. Disasters can be expensive events, whether it's damage to your property, unexpected evacuation costs, or the need to replace lost or damaged belongings. Here's a few tips to get your finances in order. Review your homeowners and renters insurance policy. Make sure you understand what is and what is not covered, and consider flood insurance if you're in a high-risk area. Have an emergency fund. Experts recommend having enough money saved to cover your living expenses for at least 3 to 6 months. This can be a lifesaver if you're unable to work or displaced from your home due to a disaster. Keep important financial documents safe and accessible. Include copies of your insurance policy, bank statements, and credit card information in your emergency kit or a fire and water safe deposit box. We've talked a lot about preparing yourself, but what about your kids? Disasters can be scary for children, so it's important to talk to them about what to expect in a calm and reassuring way. Age-appropriate conversations are key. Explain the different types of disasters that could happen in your area, but avoid using overly graphic language or scaring them. Practice your evacuation plan with your kids. Make sure they know where to go and what to do in case of an emergency. Include them in building the emergency kit. Let them pick out a specific stuffed animal or comfort item to keep in the kit. Help them create a communication plan. Decide on a family member or a friend who lives out of town that they can contact in case they're separated from you during a disaster. Remember, decluttering for disaster preparedness is a journey, not a destination. Don't try to tackle everything at once. Start small, set achievable goals, and celebrate your progress along the way. Maybe this week you focus on decluttering the garage. Next week you tackle the kitchen pantry. So take a deep breath and take control. By decluttering your home and building a basic emergency kit, you're taking a big step towards safety and peace of mind. You've got this. If you're feeling overwhelmed by clutter or simply want to connect with others on a similar journey, head over to our community Declutter for Change group. We'd love to have you. I'll put all the resources and links in the show notes at declutterforchange.com/disaster preparedness. Remember, as you simplify, each item that you let go of brings you one step closer to a lighter, freer, more aligned life. As you clear out the clutter, be kind to yourself and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Keep sorting, keep simplifying, and keep thriving. And hey, if you want more decluttering tips and inspiration or just want to connect, be sure to follow me on social media. You can find me at Declutter for Change. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy decluttering.